Cheer Chats Pod.
This is so crazy. I don't even know how to start this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, hey guys. Welcome back to the Cheer Chats podcast. It's been a while. So sorry about that. But I'm so excited to finally be with you and also to be with you in video form. Hello. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But yeah, welcome back to the first episode of the Cheer Chats podcast for season 2. I'm so excited for this season. I'm so excited for the guests that we have lined up this season. I'm so excited for you guys to hear all the things that I've been working on and all of the work that I've been putting into this. So I do have some notes here of things that points that I want to hit with you guys, just to keep you updated with how the season's going to go, some of the things that are different, some of the things that are new, and yeah, catch you guys up to speed. First and foremost, before I do anything else, I want to thank you guys so much for all the support that you've showed to this podcast, to our social media, and to all of us as individuals. I mean, I told you guys from the beginning that this was a capstone assignment and I needed it to graduate, and it needed only a couple hundred followers, couple hundred listeners, and we obliterated that. We almost doubled our followers, quadrupled our listeners. So I can't even begin to express to you guys how thankful I am that you wanted to listen to this podcast and you came back episode after episode and listened to all of them and engaged in our content, whether that was on Instagram, on Facebook, on Spotify. I'm just really thankful. And yeah, so I do have a couple people that I want to give a special thank you to highlight. And the first person is Caitlin Cruz. Caitlin, if you're listening to this, I love you. I think it would be an understatement to say that this podcast wouldn't be possible without her. She believed in this from the very beginning. She was the first person to jump at me and be like, oh my God, let me help any way I can. She was our first episode. So if you missed that, go listen. Go give it a listen. It was really good. It was really fun. And she was the first person that wanted to help me out, and she helped me promote it in any way that she could, helped get traction to our page. And yeah, and also too, she was a great teammate and a great person. So I was obviously over the moon that she wanted to do this with me. But yeah, I mean, I literally could not do this without her. And also, she's 90% of the reason I'm even here sitting in front of this camera with all this equipment talking to you guys. Because, like I said, she believed in it from the very beginning. And I just wouldn't have ever thought that people would want to listen to this, listen to my voice, listen to me talk to people about cheerleading. And yeah, she's always been the number one supporter of this podcast. So yeah, love you, Caitlin. The second group of people that I want to thank are these are some of the craziest things that the craziest people that have interacted with our stuff over the couple months when we started the podcast back in January. And that would be Justin Carrier, who I think was our third or fourth episode on the podcast. Again, if you didn't hear that, go listen to it on Spotify. And I emailed him and was just like, hey, would you be interested? And actually, I think he reached out on Twitter initially and was like, oh, I'd love to help out. And then I ended up getting his email information, and I shot my shot, I guess, and asked him, and he was so down, and he was so nice, and he was so kind. And again, one of those people that didn't have to invest their time into what I was doing because it wasn't a big thing, and it wasn't, he wasn't going to get clout from it or anything, but he was so willing to help me out and help promote it after the fact. And yeah, and then in the same vein, Cheer Theory as well. I literally, y'all, Cheer Theory, I grew up refresh. And I think I love what they're doing specifically, not only because they're a really great information outlet in the cheerleading industry, but also because they try and put out positivity in any way that they can to keep the sport happy, lighthearted in a lot of the ways that it's not. So yeah, they were the two that promoted us, put the word out, shared with their followers what we were doing, and that we were looking for support and followers and listeners and a community. We're looking to be a part of you guys, a part of the cheerleading community in a way that the three of us had never been before because we were only cheerleaders. We were never cheer podcasters or anything. So, yeah. And then obviously, I've said it a couple times before, but the most important people that I want to shout out right now are obviously the listeners. Every single person that listened to it, whether you turned on the first episode, listened to 20 minutes of it, and then shut it off, whether you listened to all 6 episodes, whether you didn't listen to any episodes, but you followed us on social media, or you liked one of our reels or our photos or whatever, shared it. Anyone who's ever engaged with our content, I cannot thank you enough. Seriously. It obviously, like, this was a capstone project that I needed a grade on, but after looking back on it now, like when I graduated college in May and had finished the class, I was just like, I don't know, I guess I didn't think that people would care to listen to it as intently, mostly because I guess at the beginning it was only for a project, and that was the acknowledgement, was that it was for a project. But as time went on, I realized not only is this really fun for me to do, but also you guys are really enjoying it, and you enjoyed it in a way that I never thought you would. I kind of just assumed that I'd have to recruit my family and my co-host families to listen to it in order to get our follower count, because that was the reality for the other people in our class. There were a couple other groups in our class that were really struggling with it and ended up not meeting the requirements, not meeting the goals. And so for us to put a presentation together at the end and say, not only did we get our listeners, get our followers, but we did that times 4, times 5, and also did these crazy things in the middle where we got to interview the VP of varsity, got shouted out by Cheer Theory, got, people in our DMs contacting us to be a guest on the show, and also getting into our first podcast beef and then the second podcast beef, which if you guys want to hear that story, I'm down to tell it. But yeah, I mean, I cannot thank you guys enough, for real. Like, oh my gosh, I would not be here. I would not have invested, like, y'all, you could see the setup on camera, and if you're listening, you obviously can't see, but this is literally a basement right now. I top to bottom redid it, repainted the whole 9, got, all my equipment that you can't see down in front of me, my microphones, my lighting. I really invested in it over the summer, and that's half the reason why I've been gone, if we're being for real. I did stop the podcast in May when I graduated, but then there was always something that brought me back to it, and I don't know, some people were still reaching out. I was still logged into the account, and it didn't feel right to let it go because it connected me to cheerleading in a way that I didn't think I could be. I don't know, like I thought that when I finished cheerleading it would be the end of that and I'd have to like move on, but this has been such a cool outlet for me and like healing for me as an athlete to move on and do these things still within the industry. So, yeah, I'm full throttle on this. I reinvested in everything, and if you guys want a studio tour, let me know. I'll give it to you. But yeah, obviously I'm still working out the kinks, but I'm ready to do this and I'm ready to take it on, and I'm really excited. So, yeah. With that being said, there are some new updates and things that I want to fill you guys in on, so you know what's coming. You're going to see some big changes in the presence and things like that. So I want to just get them all out there out in the open so you guys know what's going on. So just like to start, I guess the fundamentals of this podcast are not changing. I did like oh my god, y'all, I've said it like 5 times so far. But this podcast started as a capstone. I needed it for class. It was something you had to create a podcast and market it successfully. And that was kind of the whole point. There wasn't any specifics on it. But I think the thing that drew me to cheerleading was that I felt like at least in the podcasting industry, there's no market for this type of podcast. I think there are some that exist out there, some for coaches, some for business owners, some for cheer moms, but there was nothing for the athlete, and there was nothing to advocate for the athlete experience. And so with this podcast, the whole goal that we had was to create something where hopefully we get enough followers, and we wanted to make a soapbox or a platform for athletes to be able to get up and stand on and share their experiences in the industry, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. But yeah, we wanted to create something that helped others tell their story and help find a community and find people who had similar stories to you, and you know, also share the experiences of being on D1 teams, D2 teams, being a part of high school or college, or all of the aspects of cheerleading we wanted to cover. And I think we were able to do that in the first season, and obviously I'm really proud of how it turned out and I would not change a thing. But I do have some changes for this season. So, the host. This part I'm so nervous to talk about, but guys, it's just me. I don't know if you saw, but there's no one else here. So, one of the biggest changes host wise is Peyton and Angeline, my co hosts from, a couple months ago from the first season, are not coming back for this season. A lot of that has to do with logistics and geography, honestly. Peyton, we all graduated in May and we're all kind of pursuing our careers, doing our own thing. And this is kind of exactly what I want to do. And that wasn't the dream for, the rest of them. And that's, fine. Love Peyton to death. Peyton, if you're hearing this, I love and miss you, girl. But yeah, it wasn't their dream. And I'm not gonna, not gonna force it. And also the geographical aspect too. I am from New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. That's where I'm recording this. And so I went to school in North Carolina. So I did come back after graduation, and Peyton was from North Carolina. So obviously she's still down there. And I don't know, it just made, she's chasing her corporate girly life dream. And that's okay because we all have different dreams. So I love her to death. But yeah. So that's the tea on that. There's actually nothing crazy that happened. We just couldn't make it, logically work. But that doesn't mean I'm alone for long. So I am really excited to announce that my fellow Lady Luck's alum, my sister, my girl, I was just talking about her, Caitlin Cruz, is going to join me in a bunch of episodes this season as my co-host. And, I kind of said in the beginning, but I cannot talk, I can't even say any more about her. She's so great. She's so fun and she's so funny. And she's just a great person to be around and a great person to radiate off of. And I'm so excited for her energy to make its way onto the podcast. And I really enjoyed our first episode that we did from season 1. And so I'm excited to have more of those moments with other people for season 2. In addition to Caitlin, we're also bringing on my best friend from home, my best friend who I grew up cheerleading with my whole all-star career until Cheer Extreme. Her name is Kylie Dixon. She was a D1 cheerleader at Coastal Carolina University, and she's going to be joining us on some episodes as well, and it's going to be so much fun, and I'm so excited to bring her into this world and kind of have these nuanced conversations with her. And yeah, she's my best friend. I can't even say much more than that. Like, I don't know. She's just my best friend. She's always been my best friend for at least, 8, 9, 10 years. But yeah, I'm really excited to have her on as well. So that's going to be our host situation for the season. I'm not going to guarantee to you guys that they're both going to be on every episode. I can't really make that promise for y'all, but I'm going to be here. So you have me. But yeah, and then moving on from that, we also have a YouTube channel now. So that's probably where you're watching this video. If you're listening on Spotify, hop over to YouTube. It's in our link tree in our Instagram bio. And yeah, with that YouTube channel, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to do a video version of the podcast. That was something that we always wanted to do in North Carolina when we were doing this in January, the first time around. That was a goal of ours, but we were recording in a podcast studio with like a table. It was inside of our college, and it just like logistically we would have to have like a multi-cam situation going on, and we were already struggling as it was to to handle a whole podcast in addition to a full college schedule our senior year. But it was a goal we always had, and we just never got around to it. And I think that I love personally, I love video podcasts, which I know kind of like takes the whole point away of a podcast, but I just think they're so fun. And I don't know, I love them. I think for my little tiny attention deficit brain, it gives me something to look at. So, yeah. In addition to the podcast episodes that are going to be uploaded, obviously we're still, by the way, uploading on Spotify as well, but we're doing the video versions on YouTube. And in addition to those, I did want to, this is the part where I want to hear from you guys. I did want to start incorporating other videos onto the YouTube channel, maybe some type of content that you guys would want to listen to or watch. Maybe competition vlogs, maybe a showcase vlog or something. I don't know. Someone might be going to showcase. I don't know, you'll have to guess who it is and where. Anyway, maybe some Q&A videos we could do, some other type of interactive videos where you can get to know me and get to know my co-hosts a little bit better. But yeah, let me know if that would be something you guys would be interested in. If you're on YouTube, comment down below if that'd be something you've been interested in and maybe what type of videos you'd like to see. And if you're listening on Spotify, maybe hop over to Instagram, comment on our most recent posts, or reply on our Instagram story if there's anything that you guys specifically want to see from us. Another way that you guys can interact with us is a new segment that we're doing on the podcast, and it's called WWCCD, What Would Cheer Chats Do? And it's basically just going to be a little segment we have in our episodes where me or the co-host that I'm with or the guest that we have on will answer some of your guys' questions if you guys need advice from us, or if you just want to share a crazy story that you had in cheerleading, we'll react to it, kind of talk about it on the podcast. So we do have Google Form submissions for that in our bio on Instagram, in our link tree. So those are currently open as you hear this. So hop over to our Instagram, go through that link, submit your questions. You could submit as many as you want. You don't have to put your name or anything like that. You can if you want, but yeah, I want to hear your guys' stories, and because obviously my goal is to have as many people on from as many different backgrounds and experiences as possible, but there's so many of you, so I don't know how possible it's going to be for this season at least. So hop over there, tell us your story, ask for advice, ask for tips for things if you don't know how to get the perfect teas, if whatever, just ask us questions and we'll be there answering for you. So I'm really excited about that segment too, because I feel like that's another way for you guys to kind of go back and forth with me and get to know me a little bit better, because I've said this before too, like the whole first season, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the whole first season had a guest on every single episode. So it was kind of just like us interviewing every episode, and you didn't really get to hear a lot of our personalities and our stories and things like that. So my goal for this season is I really want to kind of build that relationship with you guys. I want you guys to get to know me. I want to get to know you. And I want to create this little online community of people who just can talk to each other about cheerleading and things like that. So, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to talk about as well is, like I said, I want to have all of you guys on as much as possible. And I want to hear all your stories and I want to hear all your experiences. So, with that being said, additionally, in our link tree on Instagram, we do have the Google form is open again for submission to be on the podcast. So just go over there, click the form link, fill it out. I did ask, like, one of the questions we had on there from season 1 was about if you've won any like major competitions or things like that, but that's not necessary whatsoever. I just want to hear your unique stories and stuff, and I want to have as many conversations around cheerleading as possible. So yeah, I don't care if you won worlds or if you didn't, or if the most recent thing you won was some local competition. I just want to hear your individual stories. So head over to the Instagram, again, link tree, and you can fill that form out as well while you're over there filling out the What Would Your Chats Do column. And then the last thing, just to kind of touch base, wrap it all up, like I mentioned before, you guys really don't know me that well. So, all of the things that we've done have been interviews and stuff, because that was full transparency, y'all. That was like for the grade. You had to have a new guest on every single episode. So it wasn't like we could throw one in between where it was just us hanging out, talking about cheerleading, having you guys get to know us, which I think actually made the project a little bit harder, if I'm being totally transparent, because the way you create an audience on social media, at least. And, I feel like I kind of know this because I went to school for it for 4 years, but the way that you can build an audience is by having them get to know you and to establish that personal relationship. And so that was like a really hard thing in our process with the podcast, was getting people to know us and be invested in us to want to come back and listen to more. So that's why a lot of our guests were some pretty popular, pretty starstruck kind of people, because we didn't have that ability to put out an episode where it was just me, Peyton, and Angeline just sitting there talking about our experiences, talking about our upbringing, how we got into it. We didn't really get to touch base that much with you guys. So that, like I said before, is something I really want to focus on. So I thought, what better way to close out this episode than to tell you guys some little things about me. We'll share. It'll be like a little circle time, except I can't hear you. But if you want to respond back, I'll just like pretend like I heard you. Or you could comment on our Instagram and I'll start responding back to you guys. Maybe just a little, name, where you're from, and how long you've been cheering. And then that way I'll know. If you comment that on our recent post, I'll know you listened to the whole episode, and then you'll get a cookie or something. I don't know. But yeah, I want to give you guys some little fun facts about me before we go. You would think that I'd be able to just kind of riff these things off the dome, but because they're like about me, and I should know that. But unfortunately, something you all realize is I'm a little scatterbrained sometimes. So I did write down my fun facts. But yeah, so I already told you guys, from New Jersey. That's where I was born and raised. I was a cheerleader for 15 years. And it's like AYC, Pop Warner. They called it Pop Warner when I was little. I don't really know what they call it now. But I did that for a couple of years. And then I switched over to All-Star. And then that was kind of it for me. I've always loved All-Star cheerleading. My least favorite thing about cheerleading when I was little was the football games. I hated them. I hated watching them play football. And I don't know, which is actually funny now because I love sports, but I hated watching it. I don't know why. And I hated cheering for it even more, apparently. So that was my least favorite part about it. So then I started All-Star. I think I was maybe in like 4th grade. So I was pretty young. And from 4th grade all the way to my senior year of high school, I cheered at the same All-Star program the whole time. And a lot of crazy things went down, a lot of crazy things transpired. I'm going to choose to call it character development, but if y'all want another podcast episode where I go into depth of the crazy things that happened to me at that gym, let me know. I think that could be good. I think it could be funny. I think it could be therapeutic for me, but I think it would be funny to hear because I laugh about those things now. Obviously, those are traumatic to me, little old 12-year-old me at the time, but I laugh now because I turned out okay, I think. But yeah, I cheered at that one gym my whole All-Star career, and then I graduated high school in 2020. So that season obviously cut short, didn't get to finish that one out, and graduated high school kind of barely. Like there was a lot of people in my grade. There was probably about 600. So we had a split graduation. So I think they did like 300. I did have a graduation though, which I am thankful for. And it was outside. So I had my little High School Musical 3 moment with a mask, but whatever. And yeah, I graduated high school. Then I decided to go to college in North Carolina. And it just so happened that the college that I chose to go to was a 20-minute drive from Kernersville, North Carolina. And to this very day, my mother and my father both think I chose that school because it was so close to Kernersville. But here's the plot twist, y'all. Here's the real. I'm gonna give you the real truth right here. My first choice was NC State. So I wanted to go to NC State, and then I wanted to cheer at Cheer Extreme Raleigh and be on Code Black. That was my dream. Well, that was my dream school and then my dream situation. I will say that ever since 2018, though, my dream was Lady Luck's. So those last 2 years that I was cheering, I was like all about Lady Luck's. But I did grow up a TGLC stan. So yeah, that's another little fact about me that I forgot about actually. But TGLC I was crazy about Top Gun. But basically it's a long story with NC State. But I ended up not going there. And I went to this other university that was closer to Kernersville. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, y'all. Like, I do want to be on Lady Luck's, but I also have a fear of rejection. So I was like, I don't think I want to do this because I don't want to know if I'm not good enough. And yeah, I did it anyway. I had a really great support system my senior year of high school. Tavares, same as Tavares, he was a coach at my old all-star gym, and he completely changed my life. I tell him this all the time. I would never be doing what I'm doing today. I would never have the things I have today. I would have never thought I could achieve the things that I've achieved without him. He made me realize, he pulled me out of the mental cloud that I was in at my old all-star gym and the things that they were saying and doing to me, and he made me realize that I could do it and I could be enough. So I sent out a tryout video for Cheer Extreme in 2020, and the rest is history. When I was at Cheer Extreme, I was on Spotlight, I was on Lady Luck's, and I was on Open for All Girl. And in 2022, I won Summit with Open for All Girl. And in 2021, I won the ISF World Championships with Lady Luck's. And yeah, now we're here, and I think we're pretty much caught up. But I graduated college, obviously, in this past May, once I finished my capstone, this project. And ever since then, I've been working and really getting on my career grind. But if somehow one day I can make a living off of doing something like this and talking about something I love so passionately, and that's been a part of my life for so long, literally more than half of my life I've been a cheerleader, that this is the dream. So I'm gonna try and chase it with y'all. But yeah, I think you're pretty much caught up with me. Those are the footnotes. Those are the spark notes of my life. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this episode. I didn't want to do anything super crazy. I wanted to keep it light for y'all, something easy on the ears for a Thursday afternoon. And again, I also want to thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, listening to the previous episodes, and hopefully listening to episodes in the future. But the way that you could see those episodes and hear those episodes, again, are on Spotify and YouTube. YouTube, we're at Cheer Chats Pod on YouTube. Obviously, Spotify, Cheer Chats Podcast. And also, if you want to keep up with our content and you want to engage with us that way, fill out some Google Forms for us. If you want to do the What Would Cheer Chats Do Google form, or if you want to just leave a comment below on any of our socials, you could find us at the Cheer Chats Pod on Instagram. And that is actually, forgot to mention that to y'all, that's the only platform we're working with right now. I am working on a TikTok. I am working on it, y'all. Again, if you have any ideas for YouTube and content that way, if you want Q&As, if you want some vlogs, if you want comp vlogs, showcase vlogs, if you want advice YouTube videos, if you want anything like that, make sure to let me know and comment on our most recent post. But I'm so excited for where this is going to go and the potential that it has. And I'm so excited for you guys to see the guests that we have coming up and the guests we have for the next episode coming out after this. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited. And I'm just so happy to be back doing this again, because I didn't think that this was going to be a reality for me to keep this podcast going without the funding of the school and without any partners. But I'm doing it. I'm here. I'm trying. And I'm not ready to back down. So all the other cheer podcasters who are listening to this, be careful. Careful, girl. Careful where you walk, because I'm coming. I'm coming. Take this as a threat, or don't. I'm not really that threatening, to be honest. All right. I think I've taken up enough of y'all's time. So I'm going to head out now, and I'm going to get to work. I'm going to get in the stew. I'm in the stew. I'm going to stay in the stew. I'm going to work for y'all. I'm going to get some more episodes pumping, and hopefully you guys like what I got going this season, and you like the guests we got, because I'm really, really excited for you guys to hear everything that's coming next. So I will see you on the next episode. Love ya. See you soon. Keep posted on socials, because we got a guest reveal coming up next week. I'll see y'all later. Love ya. Bye.